Hi there, this is Architect David. Welcome to Arkida, where you can learn anything and everything about construction. For this video, I will be talking about energy sources, the conventional, and we will touch slightly on non-conventional. For a full non-conventional type of energy source, please see part 2. Now, how is electricity generated? This picture down below shows the basic energy generation of a system, meaning to say, you have a certain area where there is water, then you have combustion down below, which needs to heat the water, wherein the steam produced by this boiling water goes to a turbine. This turbine will start generating or start turning a generator, wherein this generator now produces electricity. Now, what are conventional energy sources? Conventional sources of energy are the natural energy resources which are present in a limited quantity and are being used for a long time. They are called non-renewable sources, as once they are depleted, they cannot be generated at the speeds which can sustain its consumption rate. Now look at the last sentence. Their use leads to increased greenhouse gas emissions and other environmental damage. The first of the conventional energy sources is coal. It is a combustible black or brownish black sedimentary rock formed as rock strata called coal seams. It is extracted from the ground by coal mining, either underground by shaft mining or at ground level by open pit mining extraction. Since 1983, the world top coal producer has been China. It is the cheapest source of energy. It is by far cheaper than nuclear, natural gas, or oil. Oil, which is called fossil fuel. Now, the second source of conventional energy is oil. Oil and gas are our primary source of energy and has been around for quite some time. It is erroneous to think that oil is found in enormous pools underground. It actually occurs in small spaces in porous rock. Oftentimes, it is found as a layer between water and gas. If you look at the picture on the right, you will see a distillation process of fossil fuel or oil that is being mined. The residuum is where we get the industrial fuel which is used for power generating. Beyond that, you get different types of fuels which is used for different uses. Now, oil as well as other fossil fuels emits dangerous greenhouse gases which causes global warming. Oil consumption is biggest in the US of A, where daily consumption passes 19.5 million barrels, while the biggest producer is Saudi Arabia, followed by Russia. Oil won't last forever because its sources are limited. Now, the next conventional source is natural gas. It is an environmentally friendly and efficient energy source. Natural gas is the cleanest burning conventional fuel, producing lower levels of greenhouse gas emissions than heavier hydrocarbon fuels such as coal and oil. But again, remember, it still produces levels of greenhouse gas. Now, the next conventional energy is called nuclear. As with coal, oil, or gas fuel plants, nuclear power plants also use heat and steam to generate power. As I've explained on the first slides, you still need water. Then the steam coming from that boiling water is routed to a turbine, wherein this turbine turns a generator wherein this generator provides electricity. Now, one great advantage to nuclear power is that it is emission-free energy. Since nuclear power plants use so little fuel, the volume of nuclear waste is much smaller than the volume of waste from fossil fuel power plants. Now, the latest methodology of how to tap the conventional energy sources is called fracking. This is a forced procedure of cracking the soil bed. Meaning to say, you just don't drill it, because drilling is much more easier, because you will just have to drill it, then you will rely on the pressure of that energy source to be able to come out. While in fracking, you are forcing the soil. So if you look at the sentence down below, it is not advisable to look into this procedure as a source of conventional energy. Now moving on to non-conventional energy, looking at the picture on the right, it shows a comparative table between the conventional sources of energy and non-conventional sources of energy. Now, the first non-conventional energy source is the solar energy. It is the cleanest and most abundant renewable energy source available. It is a flexible energy technology. Solar power plants can be built as distributed generation or as central station utility-scale solar power plants. So the way to harness solar energy is conversion can be undertaken through a photovoltaic effect using your solar panels, or heating any transfer fluid in order to produce steam and run a generator. Now, a photovoltaic or PV cell, also known as a solar cell, is an electric component that generates electricity when exposed to photons or particles of light. If you will check the internet, there are now various variations of solar panels. Meaning to say, you will just have to check the efficiency of your solar panel. Try to remember at this point in time of this video recording, the most highest solar efficiency is 50%. Meaning to say, you have a solar panel and you can get only 50% of that, or you can generate electricity at only 50%. To give you an understanding of how a solar panel looks like, the picture down below shows you an exploded view of a PV module or a solar panel. Try to remember that a solar panel generates DC current. So it always has to pass through a DC-AC inverter to invert your DC to AC, which can now be used for your appliances. Now, a dish or engine system is a concentrating solar power technology that produces smaller amounts of electricity than other CSP technologies, meaning to say, as the picture shows down below, a dish engine supplies a certain locality, maybe a small area, maybe a small community, but it does not supply only a single house. Now, to explain what a dish system works, number one, it shows the photovoltaic array, which is an array of solar panels. It goes to an inverter, then it goes to a breaker box, which is the distribution systems. Then you can now give it or supply it to, let's say, a certain building or a certain community. The picture down below shows the schematic diagrams of the four types of CSPs systems. You have a parabolic throw, a linear Fresnel, a dish engine, or a central receiver. Now, the next type of non-conventional energy is wind energy, wherein you will tap the wind to generate electricity. If you look at the picture on the lower right, these are called windmills, while the picture on the left are called vertical axis wind turbines. Now, most wind turbines start operating at a speed of 4 to 5 meters per second and reach a maximum power at about 15 meters per second. That will always be dependent on the locality. Now you can come up with wind turbines, or what is called as windmill. These are big types of fans which are located usually along the shoreline to be able to generate the wind coming from the sea. This is to produce electricity for a community. Now, for smaller areas or within the city, you may want to consider using vertical axis wind turbines, which are, as the picture shows on the right, it looks like that. But there are several variations of how a wind turbine should look like. This is just a continuation of the explanation of the different parts of a vertical axis wind energy turbine. This shows the comparison between a HAWT, or a horizontal axis wind turbine, or your windmill, and the vertical axis wind turbine. Now, the next non-conventional energy is called tidal energy. This is reliant on the sea. Do not even consider this using this in your lakes or in your creeks, because it will not work. A tidal energy is usually taken from the current or the tides of the sea itself. Based on the picture on the right, you can see that there are 4 variations of how to get energy via tidal, or via the current, or via the sea movement. So this GIF just shows you whether the tide is coming in or the tide is going out. It will always generate electricity. So it is a very clean energy because it does not produce any kind of exhaust. The next is hydroelectric energy. Usually this type of energy system is found on lakes, wherein you have a dam. Part of the dam, you have a hydroelectric plant generating electricity out of the flow of water from a top portion of the dam down to the lower portion. Now, there are 3 types of hydroelectric plants. The first is an impoundment facility, wherein a dam is used to control the flow of water stored in a pool or reservoir. When more energy is needed, water is released from the dam. Once water is released, gravity takes over and the water flows downwards through a turbine. As the blades of the turbine spin, they power a generator. The second variation of a hydroelectric plant is called a diversion facility, wherein you will divert the flow of water into your turbine. Then that flow of water goes back to the river system or to the lake system. Then the last variation is the pump storage facility, wherein you will have to pump water up to your upper reservoir to make it run down to a generating or a turbine plant. Well, I hope you've learned something new in this series of videos. If you like this video, please press like. If you would like to learn about the other videos of Arkida, please press subscribe. And you may also want to press the notification bell to be reminded or to be notified in case any new videos come out. Click the subscribe button to discover all the other videos in this site. Click the notification bell to be notified about new videos that we post. If you have additional comments, please post them down below or at our Arkida Facebook page, and I will answer all your queries. Thank you.